Welcome back to Nightly Sports Call. The Steelers have a big game against the Ravens Sunday Night Football. And, Gene, we were just talking about this off camera, that they seem relatively upbeat despite of what's going on here. It seems like they are focused on football. And that's the one thing I think Shazier was stressing to everyone, to focus on this game moving forward in the other games.
Right. They don't have much of a choice, but, I mean, they seem to be doing a good job, moving forward as best they can.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. We got Brad in Duncansville. How you doing, Brad?
Good. How are you, Rick?
Good. Thanks for calling.
I have a Steeler question and a Pirate question for you tonight.
Okay.
Are the Steelers ever going to use James Harrison? And I think James Harrison is a good role model, and they should hang on to him and use him against this big game against the Ravens. And my Pirate question is, I was reading an article yesterday about Zach Gozart. If the Pirates, if they can, it may fall into the Pirates' hands. Do you think that will happen? I
didn't understand the last part of your question.
I read an article from one of the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, or I don't know how you say it. Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Is that like the Post-Gazette?
Yeah. What was your question, though, Brad?
Oh, I just wanted to know. The thing I was reading, they said that they may go out and try to get Cozart at a decent bargain. What do you guys think?
Well, you know what? I appreciate your call. The Pirates really aren't on the forefront of our minds right now, but I don't expect them to go out and get any big name player. I mean, do you think?
I didn't read that report, so I don't want to.
Yeah, I didn't read it either.
Zach Cozart's a nice player, but the Pirates have a shortstop. Unless they're talking about him for third base, I don't know.
But James Harrison, that's intriguing. Does he even play this week? Will he even dress? I mean, he's been a healthy scratch for how long here? You would think now that you're down a linebacker that he might get in a game, but he doesn't play special teams. I don't know if he just fits into their scheme right now.
I expect him to dress, but if he didn't, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they obviously don't have any plans for James Harrison. I mean, this is a situation. I would guess if you don't see him on Sunday, you might not see him again.
Yeah, you might not. They might. Yeah, he is a good locker room guy and a good person for this team, but they need players that they think they can fit into the system, that can play right now. And he proved that he could play in Kansas City, but he hasn't played much since then. So I don't expect him. He might dress like you said, but I don't expect him to play. Might play before he does, considering that he did practice with the first team a little bit today. All right, back out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to Justin and Shaw.
Hey, if you're going to have Gene on.
All right, Justin. Let's go out to Dave in Mount Washington. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I just want to say there's a big attaboy out there for Jeanette for beating Homer Central.
Homer City
today.
Homer City 42-12. Yeah, Robert Kennedy was a big factor in that game. Congratulations to Jeanette. Gateway plays tomorrow. Gateway had a pep rally tonight, sending off to the Gators to play Archbishop Wood in tomorrow's 5A championship. Gene, high school football is big around here. But I think, now that we're on this topic and he brought it up, the WPIAL championships, it seems, are bigger than the state championships here for the people here. And is that because you think people know all the teams?
Sure.
But I think there's more emphasis on the WPIAL championships than the state championships. Let's go out to Rich in Stanton Heights. How you doing, Rich? You there? Rich? Rich, you there?
Remembers the name of the player.
Go ahead, Rich.
Go ahead. Rich, you there?
Hey, guys, how are you tonight?
Good, thanks for calling.
All right, everybody's prayers are with Brian Shazier and his family, hoping for the best. But this is for Gene. Gene, I know you've been around a while. Everybody knows the story about Darryl Stingley for the Patriots, Mike Utley for the Lions. There was a game in Tiger Stadium, I believe, in 1971, the Bears and the Lions, where a Lion player, after sustaining a pretty bad hit, died after the game in the locker room. Do you remember his name? Thank you.
I'm going to guess that his name was Hughes. I thought it was Pat Hughes, but the short answer to that is no. I don't remember it. I'm guessing.
I know some people were comparing Shazier's injury to now what the latest news was to Eric LeGrand, the kid from Rutgers who was hurt in the fourth quarter. I think that was back in 2010. Now, we haven't heard if it's that severe, but, you know, that's one of the ones that I remember, one of the last serious ones, I think, that I remember, I mean, Eric LeGrand.
You know, I just don't know enough about Ryan Shazier's condition, you know, thanks to people who are, you know, trying to release as little information as possible, and, you know, that's their right. But, I mean, I don't want to guess at what this is like because I just don't know.
You know, I do get a lot of people, and I've had people reach out to me today that they think there should be more information out there. Now, this is the Steelers' decision and the family's decision, and, you know, they have every right to do what they want to do. Right. But do you think if they released more information, it would, you know, help with people speculating and making assumptions and maybe just giving us the information of what's going on?
Yeah, I don't think they care about that, and that's their right too.
All right, back out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to Rod in East Liberty. How you doing, Rod?
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for calling.
Hey, I feel that, you know, we got a problem, but like James Harrison always been there, right? And so I figure, like, me personally, I feel like Coach Thomas and all them get in the room, Joey Porter. Now, you know, you just need to turn to be salute James Harrison. He makes things happening. He needs to suit up, and he's a come-through type of guy. And I think you should send him out because we're going for the, you know, the good stuff. You might as well turn to be loose and let's do it right. Let's take it out with glory. What do you think about that?
Rod, I appreciate your call, but, you know, I think James Harrison, the age is catching up to him. Yes, he can definitely rush a passer and maybe do it with the best of them out there, but he gets lost in coverage, and we've seen that, and I think that's one of the reasons he hasn't dressed. He doesn't play special teams. I mean, that hurts him too in dressing him on Sundays. I don't know when we will see James Harrison again. Maybe Sunday, Gene.
Maybe, but if they thought he could help, you know, you'd have seen him before this.
Yeah, and I think they also want to, you know, play these young guys, Bud Dupree, Chickalo, and guys like that. And the fact that they're moving Arthur Moats in, maybe you might see him as a backup and dress, but they have Fort. They have a couple other options out there, and the fact that some of these guys play special teams like Moats and Fort, I think they have an upper hand over a guy like Harrison. All right, back out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to Jerry out in Hempfield. How you doing, Jerry?
Hey, Rich, I'm going to give you a story. When I was 28, I had the same type of injury Ryan Shazier had. I jammed my shoulder really bad, and they carted me off, and I was in Shadyside Hospital with an operation. They did severe damage on my back, and they tried to repair it. They took disc out and vertebrae and the nerve damage, and I have to be very careful. And you can heal, but you can't heal 100%. And I was told that if I make one wrong twist or move or slip, everything could just go, you know, haywire, like to crack again. So I had to quit what I was doing when I was 50 years old. And now I'm in my 60s, and I have severe arthritis and stenosis. It just gets worse. You can't do nothing for it from an injury like that. So I hope that, you know, everything's okay with him. But he'll have problems in the future with this severe injury. That's all I wanted to tell you. Okay, buddy?
Jerry, hey, before you go, when you were injured, were you immobile? Were you able to move?
No, they carted me off, and they took me to Shadyside Hospital. And I had one of the best neurosurgeons in Pittsburgh, Dr. Peter Sheptek, who worked on me. And when I came around, he said, "You're in very bad shape." He said, "You're going to be in trouble for the rest of your life with the injury you had." And I had it was so bad that I was able to walk and move and work a little bit, but it was to the point where you just got to watch yourself, very careful. I mean, he said, "You're going to heal, but you're not going to be healed 100%. You're going to be able to live, but within 15, 20 years, you're going to have severe problems. I'm having them now, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just live with the pain, just like an athlete would."
Yeah.
So I hope Shazier, you know, be able to walk and everything, but I hope everything works out fine for him, and I don't think he should take anything to go back into a violent sport like that, because you could actually be paralyzed again if he gets a bad hit, whatever they're going to fix him, because he's not going to be 100% like he was. No matter how healthy you can be and how much you work out, you're not going to be the same as you were after they work on you.
Well, Jerry, I appreciate your call, and I appreciate you sharing that story with us, and also I'm glad to see you're doing okay right now. All right, let's go out to Jeff in Greensburg. How you doing, Jeff? Jeff?
Hello, Rich.
Hey, how's it going?
I got some information for you. I just had 6 vertebrae operated on, fused 2 months ago, and I had the 2 best doctors in Pittsburgh, Dr. Maroon and Dr. Meow. And I'll tell you, I just had a checkup 2 weeks ago, and Dr. Meow told me that it would take anywhere from 6 to 12 months for you to heal, and you're not guaranteed anything above that. So, 6 vertebrae I had done, and I mean, it is really tough. I have a walker, and I barely get around 2 months later. So, Brian, I wish him the best of luck and hope everything turns out for him.
All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate the call. We got to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls and some of your tweets coming up next. Stay right there.